There you go.
Thank you very much. In my home country, in Germany, Mönchengladbach, we have a problem, or not a problem for me, but for the inhabitants. There come a new building and a parking place goes away for the inhabitants next to this place. So how we can argument for more public space and again parking space?
For more parking space?
For more public space.
Public space, oh yeah.
Yes.
I mean, in Germany, I think you even have rules that oblige developers to build parking spaces. So when you build a number of apartments, you have to build a number of parking spaces at the same time, right? And quite often that's, at least in, I don't know, Mönchengladbach, but I was yesterday in Weimar at a conference, and there they told me that the whole university was obliged to build parking spaces for the whole campus, but nobody uses them. There's already a question of rules and regulations, that you are obliged to build space that actually nobody needs. I think I would start there, right? Why would you oblige people to build parking spaces, rather insist on them change their mode of mobility in the city? That would be, I think, a smarter thing to do. Does it answer your question? Yeah?
Okay. Okay, good. Someone else has a reaction on this presentation? Yeah, sure. There you go.
I just wonder if there is a city in the world designed or ever built just for bikes or as a main transport means.
I don't know exactly, but I think Houten might come quite close to, you know the city of Houten in Holland? It's designed for public transport and bikes. And I mean, I don't want to stand on the feet of people who like Houten too much, but to me Houten is not the ideal kind of urbanism.
I understand, I would say, which fits in the habits of people living in civilization cities of the 21st century. So not like middle cities where you can't drive in with a car, only by bike, and this would be interesting.
I don't know entire cities designed like that, but I mean it's a quite important aspect in many new developments. So in Vienna they built Aspern, where I think it was quite a huge issue. You also have, I think I saw pictures from cargo bike rental stations, like the Village system in Paris, but then for cargo bikes. I think it's an excellent idea, because you don't need a cargo bike maybe every day, at least if you don't have kids, but once in a while it's great. So there are some aspects. It's not that a city entirely is designed for bikes, but I think actually that's a good thing. Maybe that wasn't quite the kind of between the lines of my speech. You saw the question mark behind the cargo bike urbanism title. I think actually it's a good thing that we don't design a city according to one mode of transport, because there are many examples of cities designed for one mode of transport, and then it's quite often the car, that are really a failure. And I'm a bit concerned that in a kind of over-enthusiasm about this new potential of the bike, we might make the mistake of design a city entirely again for one mode of transport. Maybe it's an abstract risk, but still, I mean, I like to think one or two steps ahead. I think it would be not a good idea. And I think the potential of the bike actually that doesn't require this. And that's the great thing. The bike is so flexible, the bike is so easygoing, that it could fit in just any kind of livable, nice environment. So we might want to just stop design for modes of transport, but design for people and for the activities that people want to explore in the cities, and make the mobility a kind of second thought in that. And that's very difficult with trucks and cars and trams and buses, because they're big and complex and they need a lot of space and they're dangerous. But the bike could actually just fit in any kind of nice environment you create. I think that's the big potential. And the question I have is, like, would that also be for cargo bike logistics if we really take them to the extreme? Or would we also need to be efficient and rational, and then have a kind of same situation that we need to organize it well, and we have to do all those complex stuff. And then we have a whole kind of group of well-trained engineers that is happy to pick it up and make it, you know, to the end. And that might again be counterproductive. I think that's my point. Let's not design a bicycle-oriented city.
Okay. Thank you. I have a question here.
You already answered my question.
Oh, that's good.
Ask it anyhow.
The question was, I'm from Milano, Italy, and we start to having cargo bikes around. I sell them, so I know. And the question, I go around in Amsterdam and see a lot of cargo bikes parked outside on pedestrian area or just in pavement or what else. There is no design of parking space for cargo bikes. So we are going into this cargo bikes future now. And you think that it's better to have rules for parking cargo bikes or just to let them anarchic? What you have already answered.
Yeah, but I think I think I didn't have in this presentation, I thought I put it, but an example of how the city of Groningen deals with bicycle parking in general is that they don't make strict rules, but they indicate areas where you should park your bike. So there's very simple means in the pavement. You create some boxes, use a cycle logo in it, and they say like, preferably park your bike here. So it's very low key, let's say. No kind of structures. It's very flexible. If there's no bike parked, you can just put something else there, a market or an event. And actually, what is surprising, that the people started to use it in the right way. Right? They really respect it. They put the bikes in the boxes, not outside the boxes. And if the box is full, they leave 2 meters open space because they know people have to pass, and they start the same system on the other side. So actually, cyclists are, I think, in my opinion, much more than car drivers, still kind of trained to do the right thing. Or they just want to do the right thing. So
they can think for themselves.
They think for themselves. They don't just follow the rules. So my problem with rules is, and it might surprise you as I'm German, that rules make you also stupid. Right? When you follow rules, you start thinking. And that's what car drivers do. When you can drive 50 in the city, you drive 50. And if there's a kid next to the zebra crossing or to the stoplight and it's red for the kid, you just go. A bicyclist, hopefully, I still believe, would then rather don't care about the stoplight and think, hey, there's a kid, I might just do a little turn around the kid because he might just jump on the street. And I think it's a quality that cyclists still have because they have to have it. And we should do all our best in designing the infrastructure to keep it like that. So if you organize it well, if you make the rules too idiot-proof, people become idiots. And again, to my American friends, I did a lot of driving in America, but it's really, really made for idiots, right? If you have a crossing, everybody has to stop, look at each other, and then one has to go. It might be very safe, but it also makes you really stupid. And I think cyclists are not stupid. Cyclists are, and they can anticipate, cyclists are very, all the oxygen you pump into your brain has an effect that you are really, really alert.
Also, it gives them some creativity.
But also it's your own life in risk, you know, if you're driving SUV, I mean, who the fuck cares? I mean, I have insurance. But if you're on a bike, you really watch out because you might die. And this kind of alertness and smartness, we need to cherish it. And I'm a bit afraid if we go on in this kind of engineering way, we might lose some of that. And I think that would be a pity. That would undermine the quality of cycling.
Stefan, since we have 2 more speakers today, I suggest this is the last question to answer.
Well, thanks for a very interesting presentation. You know, it's easy when you're in this little microcosm to think that the whole world is changing because everybody's thinking like we're thinking. Bikes are really the new thing. But it does feel like there's a lot of things happening right now that are moving in a good direction, actually, and conducive to a better bicycle culture. And maybe the time is right to actually start visualizing cities like Groningen. You know, 60% of transport is done by bike. And in more cities, maybe 60% is too much, but how much of that kind of visualization is really going on? How much demands are being made to have that kind of visualization in our cities? How will this city look? How will my city look if instead of 10% or 15 maybe or 5, 40% or 50% of all transport, or 60 like in Groningen, is done by bike? The city would have to look really different.
What is the city where you're from?
Umeå in northern Sweden.
Okay, I don't know that, but Groningen actually, I think it works perfectly just the way the city is, you know. Groningen is actually an example where you did not have to change the structure of the city. I mean, it's a city to start with that is very compact. That's an asset. I mean, it's a very compact city. Things are in close proximity. You have still a quite clear border between the city and the landscape around. It's not a sprawl at all. You have a lot of students. That helps to have a huge amount of cycling. But actually the conditions there are perfect. And the city was not designed as a cycle city. It was designed probably at one moment in the Middle Ages. I don't know the history of growing it well before, for horses also. And it just worked with the 60% of bicycle launch, and it works. So I'm not sure if we have to radically change our cities. I'm actually a bit reluctant to do so. So I think the bike, and that's my hope, is so smart that it can just blend in any kind of environment. If the city is not dense enough, again the North American context is an example, it becomes a problem because distances are just too far. So you might have to densify the city. You have to make a variety of amenities in close by. You want to have a theater, and you want to have a shop, and you have a bakery and a cafe, and your sports club. If that's all too spread out, you need to take a car or a bus or a tram or something else, or an e-bike. So I think the cycling would actually be a great means to improve our cities. And if the city is not dense enough, it can re-identify city, and space gets freed. Public space gets freed because, you know, we all know you can park, 20 bikes on the space of one car. So I think it will only improve the city, and that can be gradual. So no need for a new urbanism, no need for a kind of new, like the autogerechte Stadt, a new concept to turn it all over and make it different. But more like, hey, let's take out some cars there and let's see what you can put in place. Yeah. So I think there's a great opportunity that it will change the cities, but it doesn't demand a new kind of urbanism.
Small adaptations. Yeah. Okay. Thank you for your question, Stefan. Thank you for your contribution. Ladies and gentlemen, Stefan Bendix. Thank you.